So one of the hard things to deal with when you're first starting out is trying to figure out what your music sounds like. Everybody goes into it with what I call their aspirations of what they want to sound like, which is the artist that they hope that their music appears alongside of, the playlist that they would love for their music to be on. But the reality is we all start at zero, and so you have to work your way up to there. And when you're really new, you don't necessarily know exactly what your music sounds like. You know that you maybe pull influences from different places. And a lot of times the mistake that people make is they try to include all of that in the description for their music. So they'll say, I'm an indie folk artist with influences in rock and blues and Americana. And that really doesn't tell anybody anything about your music. And if you've confused people about what your music is about, chances are they're not necessarily going to take any time to listen to it. So how do you actually go about fixing this problem? Well, if you're starting from absolute zero, meaning you have no way to figure out what you think that you sound like or anything else, there is a website that's called Submit Hub, and they have some free tools that are available there. I heard about these through Jesse Cannon, who does the Muse Formation YouTube channel, which is great for marketing music, independent marketing of your music. And they have some free tools. One of them is called Hot or Not. Sounds like a weird name, but really all it is as an artist, you can submit one of your songs to there, and other artists will come in and tell you what you sound like, what other artists you sound like, maybe what genre. And in order to use that, you basically have to go through and rate other artists' music and do the same thing. So essentially just do reviews of other artists' music, say what you think they sound like. And then after you've done 10 of those, you can submit to have one of your songs reviewed by 7 other people. So if you're starting from absolute zero, this might be a great way just to start getting a little bit of a direction in where to go. They also have another tool which is AI related, where you just upload your song and then it compares it against other songs and gives you a reference of what they think your genre should be for the music that you've created. And I think this is obviously for artists that have maybe produced a full song, so they have the full production done for one of the songs that they've written. I don't necessarily think I would do this if you were just starting out with some basic demos of just vocals and an instrument. I don't think that would probably be very helpful. But if you're starting from zero and you have a song done, this is a great way to maybe just get a leading indicator of what direction you should be going with your music. I'm probably going to test some of these things out with one of my newest projects. So I'll let you know what the results of those are when I do actually finish that out. So now that you have a general indication maybe, or even if you've already come up with a general idea of what you think your music sounds like. So I think the next thing that's really important for people to do is to get out there as quickly as possible to get feedback from the market. I had for a really long time this idea that as long as I made great music and put it out there, the right people would find it, and that would just help things just take off and do their thing. And it doesn't work that way. I can say after having produced 3 different albums and not doing a great job of marketing, that you don't get traction if you're not out there doing some intentional marketing for your stuff. So what does that mean? So as an independent artist, you have access to social media to create short form content right now, which is where all the eyeballs are. So you want to go where people are, and you want to be able to use the platforms that will help you get what you need to get out of them. So for me, what this means right now is that I'm really setting up this experiment where I'm just going to do a lot of short form content. I'm going to record little snippets of songs as I finish writing them, snippets of production, stories behind them, like things that I'm working on currently, and put that out in short form content with lots of soft assumptions around that, saying, hey, I was inspired by this artist, or hey, I think this fits into this genre, or tell me what artist you think this sounds like, or what playlist you think that this song would really go great on. And you're just constantly putting out these small things to try to get some feedback from people to help you understand whether or not you are positioning or marketing your music the right way, in terms of it connects with people and they say, yeah, I agree with you. You definitely sound like this person. Or they might say, no, you actually sound more like this, or I think your music would fit more on this genre. And you have to have a little bit of tough skin, because you're going to get some nasty comments, I'm sure, through the process, but you have to be willing to take that and then just look for the common things that people start saying. So it's going to take time. This is not something where you put out 3 things and all of a sudden you have everything that you need to move forward. It'll take weeks, months, maybe years of you putting out things consistently and looking for the common things that people say. So who are the artists that people say often that you sound like? Or what are the genres that they call out when they're listening to your music? Or what are the playlists that they're telling you that you should be a part of? And that'll give you some indication of the way to describe your genre, the way to describe the music that you make. And so that'll help you dial these things in more and more. So as you create more content, you'll be able to dial in your descriptions better and call out to the right people that like that music already. And this will hopefully help you build an audience. So this is the experiment that I'm really working on right now, is starting to do this, because I just haven't done it. I didn't want to really do it. I just wanted to be able to create music, put it out there, and hope that people found it. But it doesn't work that way. The beauty of what we have available now is we have all the tools for us to really do this research and figure this stuff out, put things out there and get feedback so that we do know how to market or our music or describe it or anything else. If you're in this boat, there is a path forward, but it's going to take a little bit of work and effort on you and my part. I'm just sharing this as I'm going through this journey right now, like the thought process that I have, what I'm going to be trying, and I'll be sharing things with you guys along the way as I'm working through this and the results that I'm getting from it, all that stuff. I've really enjoyed listening to some other content creators like Jesse Cannon talking about music marketing. I think he does a great job. I also like listening to artists like Nick D that are actually in the trenches doing this stuff and talking about like how are they doing their content, how are they figuring things out. Just people that are doing it independently, figuring out how to market their music and then building an audience and building something that's working for them. So I hope you found it helpful. I would love to hear from you if you're on a similar journey of what you're trying, what you're doing, what's worked for you, what hasn't worked for you. Thanks so much for taking the time to hang out with me, and I'll see you in the next round.